Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a tiger. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the head. To draw the circle, first make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video to draw at your own pace. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having trouble drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. Draw a vertical line inside the head. This is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features later on. Now draw a horizontal line for another construction guide. Place the horizontal line slightly higher than the middle. On the bottom half of the head, draw a smaller circle as a guide for the muzzle. Draw this circle slightly below the horizontal construction guide. The bottom edge of this circle should be outside of the head. Make the length of the circle slightly longer than the width. On top of the head, draw two short curved lines as guides for the ears. These guides should be similar to small arcs. Pay attention to the spacing between the ears. Don't draw them too close together. On the lower right side of the head, draw a bigger circle as a guide for the front part of the body. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. First, make 4 small marks to indicate the sides of the circle, and then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. The left edge of this circle should be directly below the muzzle. This circle should be about 1.5 times the size of the head circle. To the right, draw another circle as a guide for the back portion of the body. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle as well. Draw this circle a bit smaller than the circle for the front part of the body. Don't draw this circle too far to the right or the body will be too long. Under the front part of the body, draw a long sloping line as a guide for the first front leg. Bend the top and bottom parts of the line to indicate where the joints will be. To the right, draw a shorter vertical line as a guide for the other front leg. Under the circle on the right, draw a long angled line as a guide for the first hind leg. Bend this line at the top and then again in the middle to indicate where the joints will be. To the right, draw another long angled line as a guide for the other hind leg. This line should slope to the right and then angle downward twice to indicate the joints. Connect the circles in the middle using horizontal lines to finish the guide for the body. Curve the lines slightly downward in the middle. On the right side, draw a long sloping line as a guide for the tail. Curve the bottom part of the line slightly upward. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, on top of the horizontal construction guide, lightly sketch 2 small circles for the eyes. Use the vertical line as a guide to help you determine the space between the eyes. When you get the size and position of the eyes right, darken the shapes. Darken the lower edges of the eyes and draw a curved line over each eye to make the shapes wider. The eye on the right should be a bit bigger because the head is slightly turned. Draw a curved line under the eye on the left. Extend the line on the bottom right side to create the corner of the eye. Now shade in the bottom section of the eye. Draw a couple of curved lines around the eye on the right too. Make the top right side of the eye pointier. On the lower left side, draw 2 short lines to create the corner of the eye. Now shade in the bottom section of the eye. The corners of the eyes should point down toward the muzzle. Make the edges of the eyes thick and dark. In the middle of each eye, draw a tiny dot for the pupils. You can make the dots bigger if you want the pupils to be more dilated. Inside the muzzle, lightly sketch a small triangle for the nose. Place the nose near the top left side of the muzzle. When you get the position and size of the nose right, darken the shape. Use a wavy line when you darken the top part of the nose. Curve the sides of the nose inward to create the nostrils. The top corners of the nose should point toward the eyes. Draw a short vertical line on the bottom tip of the nose. Make the bottom tip of the nose thin and pointy. Now shade in the nostrils. Make the sides of the nose thick and dark. Under the nose, draw a line that curves to the right for the first part of the mouth. Use short strokes as you darken the bottom edges of the mouth for a furry texture. On the left, draw a shorter line for the other side of the mouth. Curve the left side of the mouth up along the initial circle to create the side of the muzzle. On the right side, curve the line up along the circle too. Sketch lightly at first, and when you get the shape of the mouth right, darken the lines. Make the middle part of the mouth thick and dark. Under the mouth, draw a curved line that's made up of short strokes for the furry chin. Follow the curvature of the guide for the muzzle as you draw the chin. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. Now add a darker line under the mouth. Curve this line downward on the sides and make it thick. Shade in the shape to create the dark gums. Use the arc on the top left side of the head as a guide to draw the first ear. Darken the arc to create the shape of the ear. Draw a series of short strokes within the shape for the fur inside the ear. Use the arc on the right as a guide to draw the other ear the same way. Darken the arc but make the sides a bit wavier. Add a series of short strokes inside the shape and along the bottom for the fur. Now use the initial circle as a guide to draw the rest of the head. Darken the top edge of the circle to create the top part of the head. Lightly sketch the left side of the head along the outside of the circle. Make the side of the head wider than the initial circle. Now darken the shape using short strokes to create a furry texture. Draw the bottom part of this shape slightly higher than the initial circle. Now draw the right side of the head the same way. Draw a series of short strokes slightly to the right of the initial circle. The bottom part of this shape should be slightly higher than the initial circle. Now use the line that's on the far left side as a guide to draw the first front leg. Lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Pay attention to the distance between the outer edges of the leg and the guideline. If you draw the outer edges of the leg too close to the guideline, the leg will be too thin. Curve the bottom part of the leg to create the paw. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Use a series of short strokes along the top part of the leg for a furry texture. The leg should be wide at the top and then gradually get thinner toward the bottom. The tiger is stepping forward, so this leg will be slightly lifted. Along the bottom part of the paw, draw a few short curved lines to separate the toes. Draw the lines for the toes closer to each other on the left side. Now use the line on the right as a guide to draw the other front leg. Lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top part of the leg wider than the bottom. On the lower left side, draw a short curved line to create the paw. Draw the bottom of the paw flat on the ground. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Draw another short curved line on the bottom left side for another toe. Use short strokes on the top part of the leg for fur. Now use the angled line on the right as a guide to draw the first hind leg the same way. Just like before, first lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Curve the shape of the leg around the guideline to create the joints. Add a short curved line on the bottom left side to create the paw. The shape should be wider at the top than at the bottom. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Inside the paw, draw a couple of short curved lines to separate the toes. Bend the shape in the middle to create the joint. Draw the top right side of the leg along the initial circle. Use the angled line on the far right side as a guide to draw the other hind leg. Lightly sketch the leg around the guideline and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. Don't darken the top part of the leg because this is where the tail will be. Bend the shape of the leg on the lower right side to indicate the joints. Add the paw and toes at the bottom using short curved lines. Now use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the body. Use a series of short strokes as you darken the underside of the body for a furry texture. Curve the top part of the body more than the initial guidelines. Make the top right side of the body slightly flatter than the initial circle. Now use the curved line on the right side as a guide to draw the tail. Just like with the legs, lightly sketch the shape of the tail around the guideline. Make the tip of the tail round. Keep the outer edges of the tail close to the guideline so that the shape is thin. The bottom edge of the tail should overlap the top part of the hind leg. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video won't be too long. Don't worry about erasing all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now draw the distinctive stripes all over the body. Draw a series of short stripes on the forehead. Draw shorter stripes under the eyes. Draw longer curved vertical lines on the sides of the head. The stripes are basically thick curved lines with pointy tips. Add a few small rows made of dots along the sides of the muzzle for the base of the whiskers. Now add the stripes on the body the same way. Make each stripe on the body thick at the base and thin and pointy at the tip. Don't overthink it when you add the stripes. just draw thick vertical lines all over the body. Curve the stripes on the legs so that they have a horizontal orientation. If you'd like, you can make the stripes different on your drawing. It's a good idea to use reference as you draw to get an accurate depiction of the stripes. Add smaller stripes on the tail that are closer together. Now shade the rest of your drawing using a medium value. Make sure that this value is lighter than the stripes. For a lighter value, push down very lightly on your pencil. Leave a few sections around the head and body blank for the white fur. As you shade, use strokes that go in the direction of the fur. Add a bit of value on the white fur to create shadows. Shadows will give the figure more dimension and volume. Pick a light source as you shade so that the shadows are consistent throughout the body. Here the light source is coming from the top, so most of the shadows will be on the underside of the shapes. Shading can be time consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Draw a shadow at the bottom using a medium value. This grounds the tiger so that it doesn't appear to be floating. Keep shading until you're happy with the result. And that's it for the tiger. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a comment. Also subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.